last Mountain West Conference Championship game, a star-studded Fresno State team led by Derek Carr celebrated a title on their home field. Now, an improbable return trip to the title game for a Fresno State team that started slow but finished strong. 3 straight wins behind running back Martez Waller. To capture another Mountain West title, the Bulldogs will have to break new ground. A win on the blue turf. Boise State, a victory away from busting the new bowl system. Running back Jay Ajayi leads one of the nation's top offenses. 7 straight wins for the Broncos. 1 more for the Mountain West Conference Championship. From Boise, Idaho, this is the 2014 Mountain West Championship presented by Sports Authority. For the second time in 2014, it is the Bulldogs of Fresno State against the Boise State Broncos, the nation's 22nd ranked team. Second year that the Mountain West Conference has determined its champion with a championship game. Boise State, the winner of the Mountain Division. Fresno State wins the West by virtue of a tie-breaking win over San Diego State. I'm Carter Blackburn. Aaron Taylor and Jamie Erdahl join me in a moment. Well, if you remember all the way back to last year, the BCS era, you probably remember those BCS busting Boise State Bronco teams of Chris Peterson, 2 trips to the Fiesta Bowl. Now it's a new system for college football's postseason, and the Broncos are right back in the mix under first-season head coach Brian Harsin. Lost 2 games before October, but they have been on a tear. 7 straight wins behind one of the nation's top offenses, over 500 yards and 40 points per game. So, under the new system, for the group of 5, the highest-rated conference champion gets an invitation to one of the New Year's 6 bowls. Entering this weekend, Boise State was the only team from that group of 5 who was in the top 25. So, Aaron, all of that and the good old mumbo-jumbo of the college football postseason means a win for Boise State. They go to a big bowl. But it is a big deal for this program to win the Mountain West Championship.
Yeah, speaking with the team this week, it was very clear that they were focused on this game and this game only, especially this senior class, which is the 13th in a row that's won 40-plus games. They win tonight, it's meaningful memories, but more importantly, according to them, it would be their first outright conference championship since they joined the Mountain West back in 2011.
And here in Boise, it is the legendary blue turf. And the Boise State Broncos are ready to take the field for the Mountain West Championship.
Well, Carter, speaking of blue, a guy that makes people feel black and blue when he's running the football is Jay Ajayi. 216-pound junior is a physical downhill runner that breaks tackles inside the tackles, but he also has the speed, acceleration, and burst to get outside on the perimeter. He's an NFL-caliber running back with good hands, and depending on when he decides to leave Boise, he could be the most productive back in Bronco history.
Broncos face Fresno State for this championship tonight. You, me, and a lot of people surprised that it's Fresno State here to take on the Broncos.
They're, I guess, the cleanest, dirtiest shirt in the Mountain West drawer. It's been an up and down year for that entire division, but lo and behold, here is Fresno State. They're on a 3-game run. Their defense is playing quite a bit stiffer, and their offense has finally been going as well. It's been the senior class. They really had a gut check and said, hey, we're going to finish this year strong, and here they are, 60 minutes away from back-to-back Mountain West Conference championships.
Got a lot of credit for Tim DeRuyter and his staff keeping the Bulldogs together so that they would have this opportunity once again on the blue turf. Last year's Mountain West Conference champions, the Fresno State Bulldogs. It has indeed been a roller coaster season for Fresno State. They started the year 0-3. The numbers were all bad and losses to 2 Pac-12 teams in Nebraska out of the Big Ten. They bounced back to win 3 straight, including 2 in the Mountain West. then suffered a blowout loss at home to Wyoming. The response, though, 3 straight wins to reach this championship game, in large part because of Martez Waller.
Yeah, Brian Burrell, the quarterback's been playing well, but in these 3 wins, Fresno State's averaged over 200 yards per game on the ground, and a big reason why is Martez Waller. If Fresno State wants to win this game, they're going to need a big night from number 33.
The head coach, Tim DeRuyter, is with Jamie Erdahl.
Coach, back on November 1st, this program was looking at a 3-6 record. How did you get the Bulldogs back to a point where they're playing for a Mountain West championship?
We got great seniors. We got great coaches, kids that believed, and just kept fighting. When
you last played Boise State, Jay Ajayi ran for 2 touchdowns and over 150 yards. How do you plan on containing a back like him?
Well, we plan on trying to do it last time. He's a heck of a back, and we just got to get more guys to the point of attack and play out of our mind.
All right, good luck, Coach.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Brian Harsin.
Coach, you played these guys back on October 17th. Coaches say it's tough to beat a team twice in one season. How do you plan to go about it?
Well, we're going to find out. They're obviously playing very well, but we're a different football team as well. So we'll find out tonight. I know our guys are extremely excited to be playing here for a championship.
The emotion for you, coaching your alma mater in your first season at the helm, what's the message that you've given these guys, and how special is this for you personally?
Well, there's a personal, it's special that way, but for these guys, this is why they come to Boise State, for a chance to play for a championship. And here we are, and this is what we talked about from the beginning of the year.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
This is the 18th meeting overall. Now, the only time that Fresno State has beaten Boise in Boise State was 1984. That was before the blue turf was installed at what was then known as Bronco Stadium. It is an unseasonably warm night for football here in Boise, Idaho. 44 degrees after 8 p.m. local time for kickoff.
Was down on the field talking with Tim DeRuyter before the game, and he reminded me that it's actually warmer tonight than it was in last year's conference championship back in Fresno.
The 2014 Mountain West Championship. Goodale's kickoff will be taken by Damari Scott. He hits a knee, so it'll be a touchback. Fresno State takes it at the 25. Time to look at our Chick-fil-A starting lineups, and it begins for Fresno State with the junior quarterback from Bakersfield, California. Bakersfield High School, then Bakersfield College, Brian Burrell. It has been an up-and-down season for him as the Bulldog quarterback, but playing better of late.
Yeah, he got benched early on in this year a couple times, and they had some questions going back and forth at the quarterback position. But I have to give Brian Burrell a lot of credit. When he got demoted, it gave him some time to think, and since he's come back, he's been lights out and significantly improved this offense.
And it's Martez Waller. It's a reverse, and it's a toss downfield from Watson, and it is batted away, intended for Josh Harper, knocked away by Dante Dion. So that's Greg Watson, the receiver and former quarterback, first play.
I like this play right out of the gate. Trying to beat Boise really at its own game. Boise State is the one to dial up the specials or the trick plays. But offensive coordinator Dave Schramm making it very clear early he's willing to unload his playbook.
Both teams will hurry up. Second down, screen, Josh Harper across the 20, shoved out near the 30. Third down coming. Rest of the Chick-fil-A starting lineup for Fresno State. You see Josh Harper actually targeted on the first 2 plays, the 5th-year senior.
Yeah, he's somebody that's got great hands and was actually a first-team All-Mountain West Conference selection this year. You saw that they targeted him early. That won't be the only time they go to him. They need number 3 to make some big plays down the field to back up and loosen up Boise's defense.
3rd and 7 for the Bulldogs. Burrell swings it to the outside. Broncos all over it. Watson makes the catch. Corey Bell sticks him.
This was a run-pass option by Brian Burrell. Puts a lot of heat on the defense because they don't know what to defend. But just a tremendous reaction by Corey Bell, who read it all the way. And a perfect form tackle, gets his head out of there, wraps his arms up, and brings Watson down to the ground. That's a great first start for the Bronco defense.
Garrett Swanson's punt. Fair catch called for inside the 25. Dante Dion grabs it. So our Chick-fil-A starting lineup for the Boise State Broncos begins with their quarterback, Grant Hedrick, the fifth-year senior from Independence, Oregon Central High School. Who would have thought when he threw 4 picks in the opener, 4 at Air Force, that he would still be the starting quarterback at the end of the year? But it was a very direct message from Brian Harsin and his staff. Stop turning the football over.
If you want to play football, you got to be able to protect it. Hedrick didn't, and they lost games. He's done a tremendous job of that recently.
Ajayi takes the first down. Handoff, Jay Ajayi to the 30. Kyrie Wilson makes the stop. Well, it begins with the Boise State offense with Hedrick and Jay Ajayi, but there are some weapons all around. Marcus Henry leads the offensive line.
Yeah, he's another first-team all-conference type player. This offensive line is probably the most improved unit so far this year, and that center position is a strength that they've got.
Hedrick to throw. Stepping up, deep shot, 2nd and 3. It is caught inside the 25. There is a flag down as Chaz Anderson hauls it in. A 46-yard pickup.
Pass interference, defense, number 28. The penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
Broncos are hurrying the line, had to get the call in.
Yeah, you see right there just the right hand of Charles Washington bringing the receiver to the ground. When you're beating one-on-one coverage, that's actually probably a pretty good penalty.
Ajayi again on first down, this time to near the 20. Gain of 4 more for the junior from Plano, Texas. Ajayi there on the stop. He loses his helmet, will have to come out for a play. Chick-fil-A starting lineup for this Fresno State defense. Tyler Davison, the big matchup in the middle.
I really enjoy watching Tyler Davison play. He's a big bulldog right there at the nose. They played him out of position early on in the year, but he's really come on and been a force inside. 92 needs to hold the point and stuff that run up the middle.
Hedrick pulls it. Room to run. Touchdown, Boise State. Grant Hedrick takes it himself. An opening drive touchdown for Grant Hedrick and the Broncos.
That's about as good as you can start a ball game if you're Boise State. Your defense gets a 3 and out. Your offense takes it down the field and puts it in. Can't ask for much more than that.
Dan Goodell's PAT makes it 7-0 Boise State. They call it the blue turf. But Grant Hedrick knows when you reach the end zone, it's mostly orange, and there's 7 on the board. Impressive start for Boise State, 7-0 on Fresno State. Aaron, why don't you take us through your keys to this second matchup of the year?
Well, in that first game, Boise State didn't stretch the field vertically enough. Grant Hedrick only averaged 6.3 yards per attempt. That's way below what he's doing so far this year. And I think Fresno State offensively, they have to avoid negative plays. They started this game out with a penalty, so that's not the start that they wanted. But last time out, they had 5 sacks and an interception. That just won't get it done, particularly on the road. And finally, defensively, they have to limit explosive plays.
Another touchback from Goodell, so Fresno State takes it at the 25 again. Late pressure into the box from Boise State. Exactly for that reason, Ben Weaver brings down Martez Waller after a short 1-yard gain. Starting lineup for Boise State on defense, it's Tanner Vallejo, the sophomore, who leads the team in tackles.
Yeah, he's a second-team All-Mountain West Conference player this year. Physical playmaker, athletic. When you have him and Ben Weaver, who's a tremendous box player, we just saw make that last tackle. It's a big reason why this Boise State defense is so good.
Waller, no room on the left side either. It's Vallejo who leads the Bronco charge. Clearly Boise State tuned in to Martez Waller.
Yeah, they're just going to pull their backside center and guard, but you see the linebackers are playing downhill, Carter. That's called resetting the line of scrimmage. I think that Fresno State, if they can't find some room to run inside, it's going to be a long night for them up front. They're on that radar again, standing up.
Burrell completes again on 3rd and 6. First down for Fresno State. It's Josh Harper, the 5th-year senior from Stockton.
See Brian Burrell going through his reads and just throws a dart a little bit behind Josh Harper, but it's a good enough throw to allow him to get some yak yards after the catch.
18-yard pickup. That one's incomplete off the hands of Aaron Peck as the Bulldogs.
It's an incomplete pass. Second down.
There's no questioning Brian Burrell's arm strength. This thing had some mustard on it. You have to wonder if Aaron Peck felt the heat there that time by number 3, Cleishon Page, who gets there, and Peck just can't come down with it.
Page back for Boise State, missing 3 games with a leg injury.
Really liked the way he played against Ole Miss.
Quezada ridden down at the 44 to bring up 3rd down again. It's Ben Weaver, the sophomore from Klein, Texas.
I've been really impressed with Ben Weaver and what he's doing, bringing to the table. His scrapes and his angles are so good tonight. That defensive line for Boise State doing an outstanding job not letting guys get up to the second level.
Burrell, 3rd down, complete to Watson. Hesitates for a moment, leaps close to the 1st down. Where he's marked out, it'll mean 1st down for Fresno State.
So far, Fresno State doing a nice job on the perimeter on 3rd down, getting the ball into their playmakers' hands out in space. They haven't found an ability to run the football, so it's clear they're trying to throw it a little bit more on this drive.
Waller back in at tailback. They'll take it on 1st down, stretch it out again. Waller can't find the edge. He is drilled by Darian Thompson, the all-conference strong safety.
Boise State is just doing a good job of getting push. Keep an eye on those guys. Great job by Boise State. They get pressed underneath, and that makes Waller bounce outside. And because of that, it allows Thompson to come downhill because he can't get north and south.
Only 5 rushing yards in the game for Fresno State. Pressure up the middle. Picked up. Burrell steps up. Slipping away. Almost back to the line of scrimmage. Officially, that will be a sack. And Kamale Correa led the way.
They're just bringing 2 to one side in a late delay blitz that time as well by Tanner Vallejo. They simply bring more than Fresno State's able to pick up, bringing up a 3rd and forever for the Bulldogs.
It was Elliott Hoyt who finished off that sack back on the field. He was the injured player.
Remember, that was one of our keys for Fresno State. 5 sacks last time they played them.
Burrell hit again, intercepted again. It's picked off by Tanner Vallejo, who brings it back inside the 30. Vallejo has a block, and he will take it into the end zone. A defensive touchdown for Boise State. $63 yards on the run back.
No better thing for a defense than to be able to put points up on the board. Credit the pressure that time again. Off the outside edge, it was a corner blitz with Burrell under heat. He made an ill-advised throw and a bad decision, and Boise State now up by 2 touchdowns.
The 6th defensive touchdown of the year for Boise State. And the 2nd for Tanner Vallejo. No review of the touchdown. Goodale boots it through. Boise State has a touchdown on offense from the quarterback Hedrick and the sophomore Tanner Vallejo. Not only the 2nd INT from the Boise State defense, 63 yards on the return. Boise State, a statement 14-0 start. There's a reason Tanner Vallejo is getting high fives, smiling on the bench. You get an interception, take it all the way back for a TD.
Yeah, well, Marcel Yates brought some heat and some pressure on this play, and Brian Burrell sees some pressure in his face right here. He never sees Tanner Vallejo, who jumps outside going this way, and because of that, he never sees him just sink back underneath. He thinks he's got one-on-one coverage out on that outside with Greg Watson. Never sees Vallejo, lets the ball go. Vallejo's in great position, some good blocking and running later, and they get down into the end zone.
The Bronco coaching staff loves Tanner Vallejo. He started as a true freshman last year. This season as a sophomore, he has 2 defensive touchdowns. He had a fumble recovery for a touchdown at UConn. 3 fumble recoveries on the season for Tanner Vallejo. Now he has a pick, and he takes it back 63 yards.
So far in this ball game, pressure has been very effective for the Broncos because Fresno State hasn't been able to run the football. We talked about that being problematic, and we're seeing it already.
That's another touchback from Goodell. 3 on the night. Mentioned before, Fresno State's only win against the Broncos here in Boise was 84 before they put the blue turf in. So officially, they have never won on the blue turf. Still trying to get the ground game going with Martez Waller.
It's so important to establish the line of scrimmage and run the football because it gives options to the offense. When you get in 3rd and long or 2nd and long situations, obvious passing downs, then it limits what you can do and therefore gives an advantage to the defense. So it's very important to establish the line of scrimmage.
Play action. Complete to the outside near the 35. Thank you, Brent. Long day. I've got a Heisman nugget for you on Mariota in a moment. Burrell. Deep shot. Harper wide open inside the 25. Josh Harper shakes his way inside the 15. A total bust by the Broncos.
Keep an eye on Josh Harper right there in the middle. It's a bust by the safety. He takes 10 coming across. That's just a breakdown in the back end of Boise State, and a very uncharacteristic mistake from Marcel Yelt's unit.
52 yards. Waller dropped behind the line. It's Tanner Vallejo again.
Well, there was no mistake there. That was just good, hard, physical football. These linebackers, a very physical, very fast group, are playing downhill, and they're recognizing what Fresno State is doing very early. And because of that, they're beating the Bulldogs to the punch. Good area for a screen.
Instead, give it to Waller. Faking the sweep. Waller takes it to the 6. Another Boise State wrinkle from the Fresno State offense. Can the Bulldogs punch it in to begin the 2nd quarter and get back in the Mountain West Championship? That's the end of the 1st quarter. 14-0 Boise State on Fresno State. We'll return to Boise after this message and a word from your local station. 14-0 Boise State, Fresno State, start of the 2nd. First play of the 2nd quarter. Burrell pumps, pressured, sacked back at the 20. On 3rd down, the Broncos get home on Brian Burrell. Armand Nance leads the way. Loss of 5. Field goal unit coming on.
Yeah, this is going to be a stunt inside. They didn't bring very many players, only 3. To get home with 3 when you've got 6 blockers is pretty impressive. Again, Boise State up front bringing the heat just like they did the first time they played the Bulldogs.
Cody Cronin has done a nice job as the Fresno State kicker this year. 35-yard attack. It is blocked. Armand Nance gets a hand on it. Nance gets the sack and then gets the blocked field goal. What a performance from the junior nose tackle.
There was tremendous push that time over the left guard. That's Cody Wickman. Keep your eye on the left guard, just to the left of the guy that snaps the ball. And you see he's almost 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You just simply can't do it. It doesn't matter how high you try to kick the football. If you give up that much penetration on a kick, it's going to get blocked.
Oof.
I hated PAT, man. That was a kill shot for the defense. And that's why I feel for Cody Wickman.
Here's Jay Ajayi pushing his way across the 35. This is 3rd and 1, only the third down that Boise State has faced. And it's Ajayi who picks it up and keeps rolling across the 45. Jay Ajayi, I mean, he had a bumpy start to his Boise State career. Almost kicked off the team by Chris Peterson. Got a second chance, came back. Then he had a torn ACL. Said the moment that he got on the field, finally, 3 years ago for Boise State, was the best moment of his life.
Well, he's been a heck of a player since that moment. That was a divide play and some poor tackling. He just simply pushes the pile forward.
Hedrick pulls it on 1st and 10, and Grant Hedrick, who has a rushing touchdown already tonight, takes that one inside the Bulldog 30.
Grant Hedrick's legs are unbelievable. Look at this move he does on Adro Ederine. He just shakes him out of his socks. That's a quarterback who's doing an excellent job, Carter. When you have somebody that's mobile under center like Boise State does, puts an awfully lot of pressure on that defense.
Hedrick, screen again. Fling it to the outside. That's Jeremy McNichols, or as they call him,
the McWeapon.
Playing kind of a hybrid wide receiver running back now, but they think that Jeremy McNichols is the tailback of the future. Jay Ajayi is a junior, but quite possibly off to the NFL after his junior season.
Yeah, there's a very good chance of that. Watching Jay Ajayi on film, he does everything that an NFL back needs to do, but I do think he needs to shore up his pass protection.
Perfect example. Ajayi pass protecting, allowing Spurbeck to haul it in inside the 20.
The TV gods were good to us on that one, Carter. This is a great job by Jay Ajayi, fronting up Nicholson. Perfect technique. Gets his hips underneath him, locks him, stones him out, giving Hedrick enough time for the big completion. And what a player Spurbeck has become for this Bronco offense. When Matt Miller went down, Spurbeck has come in and really come on down the stretch for the Broncos.
Jay Ajayi, no room this time. Mickelson shoves him back. We'll see where the forward progress was stopped. Right around the 19. Brandon Hughes finishes it off. Be a loss of 5. Tonight's Verizon Red Zone. Look at the touchdown percentage for Boise State. 70%. That is outstanding. Hedrick on 2nd down. To a dragging receiver. That's the tight end Rowe. Near the 5, near the 1st down.
Rowe was lined up out in the slot and just does a shallow cross. There's a little bit of pressure. Hedrick buys some time, puts the football on, and Rowe almost picks up the 1st down.
14-yard pickup. He is short. 3rd and 1 coming.
Watching Boise a week ago in the red zone, they like to run reverse passes. I would look for a play to the left here.
Ajayi takes it, breaks a tackle. Ajayi stretching, touchdown, Jay Ajayi. In the last 7+ games, all of them wins. 20 touchdowns for Jay Ajayi.
We talked about his ability to break tackles. Look at everybody fold in. They've got him wrapped up around his legs, but he's so powerful. He finds a way to get into that end zone. Nice, tough run for 27.
The 47th rushing touchdown of Jay Ajayi's career, and he is just a junior.
He's the type of player that gets better and better the longer he plays. The later in the game, the more he seems to take over and feel it. And that's unfortunate news for Fresno State because he looks pretty hot and it's early.
Pretty good coordination there on the sideline with some of your teammates. You can celebrate all you want, dance all you want when you get to the sideline. It's one of the things that the officials always tell us. Just don't do it on the field.
What I love about it is that he's doing it with his teammates. He's not calling attention to himself. I love it.
Goodale's PAT makes it 21-0 Boise State. CBS coverage of the Mountain West Championship presented by Sports Authority will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Jay Ajayi and the Boise State Broncos out to a 21-0 lead on Fresno State. Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, Jamie Erdahl from Boise, Idaho. I always say it's one of my favorite stops on the tour, Boise, Idaho.
It's only because Goldie's, the breakfast spot, is in town.
I've been here so much, I'm starting to mix up my order at Goldie's, not just usually the salmon hash with hollandaise. Damari Scott from inside the 5. Ridden down near the 20-yard line by the kicker Goodell after a return of 20. Bronco defense solid.
Yeah, Dante Dion with good inside position gets an interception in the end zone, and then Marcel Yates, the defensive coordinator, dials up some pressure, and Burrell just making bad decisions, I think, feeling the heat a little bit. He's a player that's played awfully well, but that offensive line for Fresno State, without the ability to run the football, is putting a lot of pressure on them, and players like Tanner Vallejo there have done a good job of being able to control the line of scrimmage. You look at the first 4 possessions here for Fresno State, Carter. They have to get something going here in the second quarter.
Minute 13 before the half. Boise State does have 3 timeouts. Josh Quezada, the BYU transfer. Brian Harsin immediately gets the timeout called after the tackle by Ben Weaver.
Boise State, 30 seconds.
With 1:08 left, Carter, Boise State took that timeout. Fresno State's going to have to get a first down, but they're going to have to give Boise the ball back, and there it is.
There's the first down. Quezada to near the 25-yard line.
And that was important because, remember, Boise State won the toss and does get this ball back to start the second half. So after giving themselves some breathing room with under a minute, this is the type of offense. They have the weapons where they can get some big chunk yardage, get down the field, and hopefully end this half on a positive note.
45 seconds left in the half. Burrell fakes to Quezada. Broncos not buying it. It was stretched out by Bo Martin, and then Tanner Vallejo finishes it off.
I thought Burrell should have kept running outside. He wasn't going to gain very many yards, but what that would have done would have been stop the clock. But because he got tackled in bounds, it's going to tick, 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 and you have to wonder if Fresno State's going to play conservative here and go in at halftime and regroup.
Especially when you've already thrown 2 picks, one of them returned for a touchdown. So, in fact, 21-0. The Boise State Broncos, a victory away from their first Mountain West Conference championship and a spot in the New Year's 6 Bowls. And a solid start. 21-0 against Fresno State. Grant Hedrick, a rushing touchdown to get it started, a defensive touchdown, one for Jay Ajayi, and not much offensively in the first half for Brian Burrell and the Fresno State Bulldogs. 21-0 in the second matchup here in Boise between the Broncos and the Bulldogs. Jamie Erdahl is with Boise State head coach Brian Harsin.
Coach, Martez Waller is a big running back threat, but you held them to just 27 rushing yards that first half. How'd you do it?
Well, he is a threat, and we got to continue that. D-line's playing well. I think both defenses are playing well right now. You know, we've got to do a better job on the offensive side and figure some things out, but our D-line backers have done a nice job on their run game at this point.
When you're trying to earn a Mountain West championship, how important is it to find that production from every phase of the game?
Well, that's what it takes. When you play in a championship game, all 3 phases have to play well. We've got one unit playing really well on defense right now, and we've got to get the other 2 to step up and play the second half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Harsin and the Broncos, 21-0 lead on Fresno State at the break. On the blue turf, all Broncos in the first half. For an important update on everything in college football, here's Brent Stover in our New York studio. Boise State a win away from a Mountain West championship and a spot in a New Year's 6 bowl game. A 21-0 lead on Fresno State. Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor. As you would expect in a 21-0 game, everything favoring Boise State, including physicality on the field.
They've been physical on both lines of scrimmage, and I've been really impressed with Boise's defense, the way that they've prevented Fresno State from being able to run the football. Martez Waller just simply hasn't been a factor, but when Boise's had the ball, they've been tremendously physical on that side as well. Let's take a look at that touchdown by Jay Ajayi. This is Tyler Davison, probably an NFL nose tackle. He comes off the football right away, gets into the backfield. It looks to be a busted play, like they were trying to run a wham. But we talked about the physicality of Jay Ajayi and his ability to run through tackles. He gets himself into the end zone, but turnovers have been the thorn in the side of the Bulldogs, Carter.
2 early interceptions, one of them returned for a touchdown for Fresno State.
For the most part, this has been basically a defensive ball game. Fresno State hasn't played terribly on their defensive side of the ball, but they just haven't been able to get anything going offensively. They've moved the football. I mean, Brian Burrell, 11 for 14 with 143 yards. The problem is that pressure. He's been sacked a couple times, and he's thrown those 2 picks because of that pressure, and that's how not being able to run the football shows up.
Garrett Swanson's kickoff will be taken inside the 5. It's Jeremy McNichols hit at the 10 and ridden down at the 14-yard line. A chance for us to check with Jamie Erdahl.
Yeah, Martez Waller is the guy for Fresno State, but his longest rush in the first half was just 7 yards. Tim DeRuyter said he does need to step on it, but they also could be blocking for him better. He's tiptoeing a little too much on runs. Another thing the Bulldogs need to do is finish drives. They were unable to convert on their 1 red zone opportunity. Tim DeRuyter said if you fix that, if you eliminate the pick 6, that's a 14-point swing, and they're right back in it.
Martez Waller averaging over 6 yards a carry on the season. Jamie said his longest of the half was 7. There's Jay Ajayi to the 19. Tackled by Maurice Poyadu. Tim DeRuyter. Last year, they won the Mountain West Conference Championship. 2 years ago, they were co-champs. That was before there was a championship game here in the Mountain West Conference. But the offense has stalled here at the end of the regular season and in the first half.
Here we go. Yes, hot.
Ajayi takes it on 2nd and 5. Ridden down. That's Adro Ederine, who is back in the game to begin the second half.
Excellent job by Adro Ederine, fighting through the block on the outside edge and coming up and making the tackle. Remember, he left the game earlier with those sore shoulders, but this is a great shot in slow motion, a perfect form tackle, getting the physical Ajayi to the ground.
To force 3rd and 5, Ederine out. Play fake. Hedrick steps up, tucks it, scrambles for a first down to near the 35. Todd Hunt finally makes the tackle.
That's so hard to defend when your back end is doing a good job in coverage. There's nowhere to go, but Grant Hedrick doing that hitch, go or throw drill that they talked to us about, Carter, running it to perfection. If there's nobody open, take 2 steps forward. If the middle backer drops out, pull the ball down and hit it.
Offensive coordinator Mike Sanford picked that up in his time at Stanford. It's a Jim Harbaugh drill for quarterbacks. We talked through it yesterday. Hitch, throw or go. Here's the throw, and it is caught at the 41. Another huge gain. It's Jeremy McNichols, the true freshman from Long Beach, 41 yards.
Well, Jeremy McNichols was coming across the formation in motion. He's going to run a simple wheel route here, and the coverage break down. They don't see him come out of the backfield. Nobody picks him up, and Grant Hedrick steps into it, puts the ball on the money for a huge gain for the dudes in blue.
Ajayi, first down carry, stretched out, ridden down as the Bulldogs commit to stopping Jay Ajayi. That's Ederine and Carl Mickelson.
This Fresno State defense, Carter, desperately needs a turnover. They can't give up those big plays. That was one of the things the defensive coordinator, Nick Toth, told us that they needed to be able to do, is to contain this offense, make them earn their way down the field. They certainly didn't do that. on that last play, but a great job on first down there.
Playing it to the outside of the tight end, Jake Rowe to the 21. Will be third down coming up. Donovan Lewis there on the stop. 8-yard pickup for Rowe.
Tremendous hustle there by Donovan Lewis. But he was the only one in pursuit, and that's what Boise State is so good at. They get the ball to the outside edges and make you pursue, and that slowly but surely tires defenses down throughout the game, and that's when they dial up that run game late in the fourth quarter when the defense is tired.
Hedrick checks to the sideline. Boise State doesn't do a whole lot of check with me. And prior to 3rd and 4, near the 20. Hedrick roll out. All sorts of room for Grant Hedrick. Second rushing touchdown. This one goes for 21, and Boise State, dominant thus far, maybe closing in on another big bowl and a Mountain West Conference championship.
So important to be lined up correctly, and that time I think Fresno State gave up leverage to the outside, and it was a great play call and an adjustment by the Boise State Broncos for the easy touchdown.
Goodell's PAT makes it 28-0. In a day of statements around college football, Boise State is making their own. The Broncos believe they belong. In September, Grant Hedrick was benched as the Boise State quarterback after he threw 4 picks in a game against Air Force. But he is out there now and playing well.
This is just going to be a simple pin and pull scheme where they're going to block down and pull the tackle out and pull the backside guard as well. And this just creates a tremendous rush lane. Fresno State that time was outflanked before the ball was ever even snapped. There was no D-gap player. There was nobody to set the edge. Boise State recognized it, blocked it perfectly, and Hedrick walked in for his 8th touchdown of the year.
Jamari Scott bobbles it near the goal line, and he is driven down at the 3. Jamari Scott could have taken a knee for a touchback. Instead, he picks it up, brings it out, and he's dropped as soon as he grabs it. Christopher Santini makes the stop.
You can't do it. You have to be able to secure the football first. He just panics here at the end, never has it, and he gets pushed back in the end zone, but the ball will get spotted on the 4-yard line. But when it rains, it pours for the Fresno State Bulldogs. Just another costly, unforced error by this team on the road trying to get a win.
Marcus forward progress closer to the 4. Martez Waller slips out of the tackle at the goal line and gets to the 11. Vallejo and Weaver make the stop.
You see Martez Waller wincing a little bit there in his eyes. He's been banged up a little bit, but that was a beautiful run inside. He's feeling it. I think that they need to continue to try and run the football inside. That time, he ran through an arm tackle by a Boise State defender that showed up unblocked.
Waller ridden down again. It's Tanner Vallejo. Longest run of the night for Martez Waller, just 7 yards for a guy who's over 1,000 on the season.
Boise State's defensive line and linebackers, and then the safeties there with Darian Thompson. They are playing downhill on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And that last play, he doesn't have a shot. Tanner Vallejo once again on the other side of the line of scrimmage, bringing up a 3rd and long. Expect heavy pressure here, particularly in this field position by the Broncos.
Burrell steps up near the goal line, delivers complete. That's a big-time throw from Burrell to Greg Watson to the 21. Thompson in coverage.
I'm a little surprised that Marcel Yates didn't dial up some pressure there. He only rushed 3 people. That gave Burrell the time that he needed. When he's had time, he's been lights out. He's completing an extremely high percentage of his passes tonight. I think Boise State needs to dial up some pressure and take some shots.
He's 12 for 15 is Burrell. Watson, the receiver on the play, back to the sideline. Shovel toss, Josh Quezada to near the 24.
I like this move because I think Martez Waller's pretty banged up. I like Quezada. I like his running style. A little bit different style. He's a little bit faster of a back, but he still has the ability to thump it up inside if they need it. And they do.
Burrell audibles on 2nd and 7. Pressure off the edge. Picked up. Burrell hit as he throws. Incomplete. Intended for Josh Harper. Kamale Correa drills Burrell.
Well, just when we talked about that pressure, Carter, Marcel Yates dials up some pressure off this outside edge. It's supposed to be a 3-step drop. You see the left tackle, Alex Fafita, fire out and cut him. They were expecting it. But Burrell held the ball too long and just has to throw it out of bounds again. Very tight coverage by Boise State's back end.
Bulldogs need to pick up this 3rd down to get the offense rolling, have any chance to come back.
Last 3rd down, no pressure, only rush 3. They completed it. Let's see what they do here.
Pressure comes. Burrell slips away. He's going to tuck it and has the 1st down, scrambling to the 32. Gabe Perez puts the pressure on Burrell.
Burrell's pretty decent. He's not known as a mobile quarterback. He's a big guy, 6'4", 220 pounds. But he has the ability to extend plays. And that time, Boise State blitzed 5. They brought pressure, but Burrell, keeping his eyes downfield, smartly tucked the football and picked up the 1st down.
Play action. Watson slipped as he made the catch. It's incomplete. Bounced off the turf.
That was a rare ball that was off target. Brian Burrell came into this ball game only completing 58% of his passes, and he's 13 for 18 so far tonight. He's been lights out. If they can give him some time, I think he's good enough with his arm and the improvement down the stretch to possibly get his team back in this game.
Quezada's 2nd down carry, nothing there. It'll be 3rd and long again for Fresno State.
It looks like Fresno State's offensive line, which has been improved since we saw them, is trying to position block. They're not being physical. They're not getting movement. And that's because Boise State is out physicaling them, I think, at the point of attack, Carter. Just a tremendous effort by this Boise State defense to replace so many starters from a year ago. That defensive line has gotten better and better each week. They're playing outstanding here tonight.
Radar look again on 3rd down from the Broncos.
Boy, check you out.
Learning. Burrell delivers again on 3rd down. This time it's Aaron Peck, the junior from Moreno Valley, California, gain of 15.
Just a great job of using his body presence in position on a simple crossing route to be able to find a way to get himself open. I'm impressed with Aaron Peck and his job, but again, another dart thrown by number 2.
This Fresno State drive began at the 4. And Josh Quezada takes it inside the Boise State 35. I mean, you're down 28-0. This is a must drive for Fresno State. I mean, must in the end zone to have any chance.
Absolutely, partner. And I like the way that they're keeping them off balance. They're successfully moving this football down the field. At some point, though, I'd like this area of the field to be able to run screens or take a deep vertical shot if you get yourself in a one-on-one situation. But first, I think you need to be able to convert this 3rd down. But look what he's done on 3rd down, Carter. He's been outstanding tonight. Looks to be man coverage up top, one-on-one.
Over the middle, caught. Watson, 1st down. That is the 5th 3rd down completion on this drive by Brian Burrell.
Look at how quickly he gets rid of this football. Going through his reads, doesn't see what he likes, scans the field, bam! Pulls the trigger, puts the ball on the money to Watson. This is a pretty impressive drive by Brian Burrell.
This is good as Brian Burrell has played all year for Fresno State.
And you got to credit this coaching staff for sitting him down and letting him think about it. for being a big reason why he's been able to turn it around, and you have to credit his ability to hang in there tough and do a gut check himself. Find a way to get more productive.
By the way, Fresno State 6-6, so win or lose in this game, they're still bowl eligible. That's the rule that came into play a couple of years ago with UCLA in the Pac-12 championship game. So 6 wins, Tim DeRuyter's team is bowl eligible regardless of the outcome. Play fake. Burrell, room to run. Scrambles inside the 15. He has another first down. Bulldogs will have it 1st and 10 from the Bronco 14.
That time they only rush 4. They run a stunt up in the middle, but the offensive line does a good job of being able to knock those guys out of there. And Boise State's defensive line that time did not stay in their rush lanes. A huge mistake, allowing for the big pickup by the Dogs.
18th play of the drive that began at the 4. Screen, Watson takes it inside the 5. LeSean Page makes the stop. Second down and short from inside the 5 for Fresno State. Let's take a look at the Verizon red zone. Fresno State right above that national average. 64% touchdowns in the red zone.
This has been an impressive drive to get themselves down here, Carter, but they have to finish it.
Quezada, touchdown, Fresno State. A drive that the Bulldogs needed. A 96-yard drive by Fresno State. Josh Quezada finishes it off.
Finally, that offensive line does a good job of getting a hat on a hat. And Josh Quezada, running downhill, runs through the attempted tackle by Corey Bell. That was outstanding by the Fresno State Bulldogs. Nice balance, good job blocking up front, and give Burrell time to find a way to get themselves in the end zone.
Morning's PAT is good. Fresno State is still down by 3 touchdowns at Boise State, but a 19-play, 96-yard drive. The Bulldogs still have some bite. Hoping to add another trophy to that case here in Boise. 28-7 on Fresno State. Tremendous drive by the Bulldogs, capped by Josh Quezada's touchdown run. The drive started at the 4. 19 plays later, the Bulldogs are finally on the board.
12 of those plays were rushes. 7 of those were passes. And Carter, they had more rushing yards on that drive than they did in the entire first half. Just a great block that time by Cody Wickman. They're going to have some pressure off the outside. This is just a simple divide play. And because Josh Quezada got north and south, the defender wasn't able to make the play, and they punched their way in. Lo and behold, Fresno State finds a run game. They get themselves into the end zone.
Like it when there's a big block from an offensive lineman. You give it a little extra oomph.
Man, I miss it, buddy.
Carter Blackburn, Aaron Taylor, Jamie Erdahl from Boise, Idaho. Broncos still a 3-touchdown lead. Seeking their first Mountain West Conference championship and perhaps another trip to the Fiesta Bowl. This is McNichols picking his way to near the 20-yard line. Spot him down right around the 21. 3-touchdown lead for Grant Hedrick, 22nd ranked Boise State. So again, for the Broncos, in the group of 5, there's so much chatter around the top 4, as well there should be, about who's going to play in the semifinal. But for Boise State, they're the only team from the non-Power 5 conferences who's ranked in the top 25. For a team who had 2 losses before October, to be on the verge of not only a conference championship, but a New Year's Bowl, perhaps the Fiesta Bowl. This is a massive turnaround by the Broncos.
This is significant, Carter, because it is up to $22 million for this team in the conference. If they get into that bowl game and go all the way through, it is significant if they would do that. And that was one of the things that they negotiated when they came back into the Mountain West, was they wanted a lion's share of the ability of any monies that they generated. And they should have deserved that. But I think Fresno State, ironically, is a team, if they lose that game, that stands to benefit significantly by Boise State going there. And that's the power of the Mountain West Conference. And that's the opportunity, I think, that the Broncos are looking to make on the national stage.
There are some strange scenarios out there when you get into bowls and bowl money. But Boise State 28-7 at the end of the third. We go to the fourth quarter with the Broncos closing in on a Mountain West championship and perhaps more. We'll return to Boise right after this from your local station. A year ago, the first time that the Mountain West Conference had a championship game, it was Fresno State who won, got to celebrate on their home field. Now as we go to the fourth, Grant Hedrick and the Boise State Broncos, a 3-touchdown lead, closing in on a chance for Boise State to celebrate on their home field.
I think we'll see a lot of 27 from here on out.
Here he is, number 27, Jay Ajayi, trying to stretch it out. He's going to lose yardage, making it 3rd and long near Boise State's own goal line. Look at Boise State. I mean, they were outscored 42-7 in the fourth quarter, the first couple games of the year, including that opening loss to Ole Miss. Since then, dominant in the fourth.
Good teams finish ball games, and that's what Boise State has done down the stretch, which is why they're in this ball game to begin with.
The Bulldogs are still in it, even though they're down by 3 touchdowns, backing Boise State to 3rd and long. There's Ajayi on the draw, and he is drilled as soon as he touches it. I mean, popped by Jeff Camilli, the sophomore will linebacker. 4th down coming. Hope springs eternal for Fresno State.
Just an excellent job by Jeff Camilli, beating the all-conference first-team center Marcus Henry. Those are the stops that Fresno State needs to do. That's the 4th 3-and-out, Carter, that they've had all in the second half. They are balling out, getting themselves opportunities.
Whale gets the kick away. Deron Smith backs up to his own 45. Deron Smith shaking his way across the 50, only gets to the 49. Still good field position for Fresno State.
Going to be interesting to see what Boise does here. When Burrell's had time, he's been able to connect, but you have to be able to balance blitzing and getting pressure.
Incomplete, intended for Harper.
By not leaving your defense vulnerable.
Brian Burrell, option quarterback in high school, Bakersfield High School. Spent a couple of seasons at Bakersfield College. One of those was injured. As a junior, taking over for Derek Carr, now the quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. Burrell 3rd and 10, check down. Quezada makes the catch, but couldn't keep his feet. He had some room to run. Instead, it's 4th down for the Bulldogs.
And that ball was thrown a little bit low as well, it looked like. Quezada had a free release. They blitzed late. No, that was a well-thrown ball, but you're right, he couldn't hold his feet.
4th down again for the Bulldogs. Burrell delivers. Quezada keeps his feet this time. Converts. 1st and 10, Fresno State.
You hear the phrase all the time, take what the defense gives you. Nobody's covering them. The linebackers are dropping out of there. They're only rushing 3, and Brian Burrell hits the check down.
Slant. Caught. That's Johnson who takes it to the 30-yard line for Fresno State. Ben Weaver on the stop. Under 6 minutes now. Bulldogs trailing by 3 touchdowns.
Fresno State ran that last play so quickly that Boise State wasn't set.
Hurry up again. Slant again. Complete again. It's Josh Harper, who's gone over 1,000 yards in his senior season. Brian Douglas on the stop.
Brian Burrell is throwing darts. He's reading this defense beautifully. I would expect Boise to tighten their coverage a little bit, and if so, that leaves them susceptible to double moves.
Burrell, Watson, stretching, touchdown, Fresno State. Bulldogs in a hurry make this a 2-touchdown game. 25 yards, Burrell to Greg Watson. 5:31 on the clock, a pair of timeouts. The Bulldogs up and down. Season continues.
That was a beautiful corner route by Greg Watson from that slot receiver position. And one of the best balls I've ever seen Burrell throw. That ball was a dart on the money.
Cody Cronick's PAT, 28-14. Don't book the trip to the Fiesta Bowl yet. The Bulldogs still have 5:31, trailing now only by 2 touchdowns. First play from scrimmage, Greg Watson, a former quarterback now playing wide receiver, threw a duck of a ball. Better as a wide receiver now.
Yeah, this was Tampa 2 coverage where they dropped the middle backer out. Here's Watson here. He's just going to run a simple quarter route, and against 2 deep coverage where you have 2 deep safeties dividing the back half of the field, you want to run away from the safety and get behind the quarterback. It was a great route, but look at this ball by Brian Burrell. You can't get much more accurate than that. That ball was on the money.
As you said, Aaron, this is the best that he has played. I mean, there's only 14 points on the board, so it's not like Brian Burrell is going to break many records tonight, but he has been spot on when Fresno State had a little ground game.
It's almost a shame that he's playing this well this late in the season for his and his team's sake. But, man, what a nice job he's done.
It is an onside kick from Swanson, and it is bobbled and recovered by Fresno State. 5:29 to go. A successful onside kick by Garrett Swanson. Charles Washington recovers it. Bulldog football down 28-14.
This is the exact play that they needed. Just a sky pooch kick. We saw the Georgia Bulldogs get hurt against Georgia Tech running this same style of kick. But just an excellent job and a bobbled snap. It was Huff and Ajayi that hit each other.
Just the second successful onside kick in a Mountain West Conference game this season. Sets Burrell and Fresno State up. From the 50, check down Quezada. Gets maybe to the 43. Martez Waller still not out there for the Bulldogs. It's Josh Quezada taking over.
The Boise State can't afford to get too conservative here. They got to pin their ears back. They know that they're going to throw, but they have to execute.
Pressure on Burrell. He is sacked. Sam McCaskill. 4th sack of the night by the Boise State defense.
Going to be Sam McCaskill right here from this defensive end position. He shortens a corner. The right tackle, Justin Northern's had trouble tonight in pass protection, giving up those short corners. He's laid off the football, and you just can't do that against a guy that can rush the passer.
3rd and 29. Burrell screen Quezada. Blue turf ahead of him. Quezada fights to get back to near the original line of scrimmage. 4th down coming up. Call it 4th and 12 now for Fresno State after Quezada picks up 17.
I don't want to overemphasize the importance of this down, but this could be the ball game right here. The costly penalty set them back, but this is the biggest 4th down. Burrell's been lights out on 3rd down, but he's going to need to bring it here.
Burrell off the back foot, heaves it inside the 10. It is incomplete. Boise State takes over with 3:28. Heck, the intended receiver, Cleishon Page there in coverage. Bronco football, 3:28, 2-touchdown lead.
And that's the matchup you want. Aaron Peck is 6'3". Cleishon Page is only 5'9". Yet Cleishon Page was able to go up, and just a mistimed jump by Aaron Peck. The ball goes through his hands, and you see Josh Harper right here on the right side of your screen with his head down. He knew how close Peck was to coming down with that football. You got to catch that, buddy. That's exactly what Fresno State wanted, and they didn't convert.
Jay Ajayi on the ground.
Ball out.
Fumble. Who's got it? Mickelson applies the pressure. Jay Ajayi, who has had critical fumbles throughout his Boise State career, securing the football if Boise State somehow gets back on top. I mean, Ajayi thought they had corrected those fumble problems.
Second down.
They may want to take a look at this, Carter. It looked very clearly to me like Fresno State got down on it. They can review who has possession. He has the football away from his body. Great job by Mickelson of blowing that play up. They're fighting for the football. Mickelson gets there first with his right hand, just rips it out on Ajayi, who only had one hand on it.
I don't think we're going to have a review. I mean, Boise State now is up at the line. They're not even in a hurry to snap it. So back to Jay Ajayi. This time he's tackled by Donovan Lewis. Third down coming up. 2:48, only one more chance for Fresno State to stop the clock. Boy, oh so close for the Bulldogs. The Peck catch inside the 5, then Jay Ajayi fumbles it somehow. Boise State gets back on top.
8 guys in the box with an overhang player.
Ajayi on third down, and he is dropped for a loss. Stays in bounds, so 2:40 to go. Ajayi makes a stop. Bulldogs use their last timeout.
They were committed to the run, and then Adro Ajayi, who's not in the frame here, you'll see him show up very quickly to the left-hand side. He sets the edge of the defense. He gets cut, but he gets himself back up with those 2 bad shoulders, grabs onto the big ball carrier and gets him down to the ground. That was just an excellent play of setting the edge and getting himself off the field when they needed to.
4th down coming up for Boise State. So here's the Mountain West Conference rundown of bowl game tie-ins. This doesn't include the New Year's Six. So Boise State goes to the Big Bowl. Then you have the rest of these bowls lined up, and that's a pretty solid bowl lineup for all the teams like Air Force, for Colorado State. There's some good bowl opportunities, not only to Boise State an overall financial boon to the conference, going to that big one, but better bowls for everybody else.
And interesting to see what's going to happen to Colorado State without a head coach. That's not going to be a very attractive team without a head coach during the bowl season.
Jim McElwain going to Florida.
Defense, number 29. Penalty is declined. First down.
Burrell in the offense, down by 2 touchdowns. They trailed in this game 28-0, so acquitted themselves well in the second half. On first down, deep completion. Boy, another solid throw from Burrell.
Just another corner route with a too-high safety. You're throwing it where they're not, basically finding the holes in the defense behind Cleishon Page, the cornerback, and in front of the safety. Just a nice job by Brian Burrell again, dropping the football in a bucket.
Johnson gets 22. From the 45 now, Burrell check down Quezada, middle of the field. Vallejo makes the tackle. No chance for Fresno State to stop the clock without a timeout.
Yeah, in a 2-minute situation, when you need 2 scores with no timeouts, you got to get bigger gains than they got on that last play.
There's the deep shot. Incomplete. Intended for Josh Harper. Down to 3rd and 7 for the Bulldogs.
This is almost a stop route, and that gave Cleishon Page enough time to be able to sink down. Interesting philosophically here, if you're a defensive coordinator, do you bend but don't break and let them kind of chunk their way down the field and eat that clock up, or do you try and get yourself off the field and bring pressure?
Burrell faces the pressure and delivers. Aaron Peck hauls this one in inside the 35. Slow getting up.
Yeah, that was just a dog blitz that time. Linebacker showed up late. Kamale Correa.
Bulldogs aren't done yet. Burrell to the end zone. It is knocked away. Almost picked again. Dante Dion, 2 hands on the football.
This is a ball that should never get thrown, but because it's thrown so hard, Dante Dion can't come down with the football. He was trying to get it to Greg Watson, but he waited too long enough for not only the corner to sink on it, but for Darian Thompson to come over.
Minute 43. Burrell slant. Harper grabs it. Blown up. Rolling to near a minute 35.
They have to be able to work the edges. There's no timeouts. Remember, they're not in a clock situation. They get positive yardage. They need to dial up these plays and get themselves out of bounds. Work the edges.
Intercepted, and that'll do it. Boise State will win the 2014 Mountain West Championship. And the Broncos are headed back to a major bowl game in college football's new era. Bo Martin with the championship clinching INT.
Had a forced fumble a week ago, but when the Broncos needed a big play, the honorable mention all Mountain West Conference player comes up with the biggest interception of the season.
Third interception by the Boise State defense.
Rudy. Carrying him like the hammer.
Think about this in the long view for Boise State. Successful 1AA program. They get to the 1A level. The terrific run. Houston Nutt, who's back in our New York studios as a head coach here. Then Dan Hawkins. Then handing it off to Chris Peterson. They were in the WAC. They couldn't get into the Mountain West for years. Finally into the Mountain West Conference. Seems like a decade ago, that flirtation about Boise State to the Big East, just a matter of years. Now here they are in 2014 under first-year head coach Brian Harsin. They win their first Mountain West Conference championship. They do it at home on the blue turf, and now Boise State is your group of 5 representative in the New Year's 6 Bowls in 2014. And for Brian Harsin, the Boise State alum, what a moment.
To do that in year 1 at your alma mater with this group that faced so much adversity, that picture says it all.
The BCS Busters, Boise State. It's a new era, and the Broncos are right there with you. Coming up in a moment, the trophy presentation still to come from Boise. Jamie Erdahl now with the trophy presentation.
Well, my script said to say that this was an exciting game, but I don't think that does it justice for a team that just outright wins the Mountain West Championship presented by Sports Authority. There was also an area that people weren't supposed to be in, and you guys just crushed that. First, I want to thank everyone for being here, and I want to turn the mic over now for a few thoughts from the Commissioner of the Mountain West, Craig Thompson.
Thank you, Jamie. What a fantastic, historic night here at Albertson Stadium. And to all the Bronco Nation, on behalf of the Mountain West Conference, congratulations to the 2014 Mountain West Conference football champions. Coach Harsin. Great job, baby.
We do want to speak to Coach Harsin, a class of 2000 alum to Boise State University. You're back here in your first year. What are you thinking about right now?
Well, number one, I'm thinking how proud I am of our coaches and these players to come out here and put everything on the line this entire season, and to see Bronco Nation out here supporting these guys, and to go out there and accomplish the goal we set out to accomplish. Day one, when we had that first meeting, was to win a Mountain West Conference championship, and we got it done right here in Albertson Stadium.
And can you hold it? You good? Yeah, there it it is. Coach, one more. Coming into October, you had lost 2 games, and now you're winners of 8 straight. How did you get here now for the potential and really the reality of playing in January?
Well, I think that it says a lot about this football team and the resiliency they have to come back and really take a 1-0 mindset every week. Football is the greatest sport. It teaches you so many lessons, and you have to fight back from disappointment, and that's exactly what they did. And every week going out there to give their very best to hopefully have a chance to be in this position right here. And so it's a credit to our coaches, our team, and how much they believe. And this really is a family right here, and I can't say enough about these guys.
Well, congratulations to Boise State University, the outright winners of the Mountain West Championship.
An emotional moment for Brian Harsin, and quite a scene on the blue turf. 28-14 the final. Boise State over Fresno State to claim the 2014 Mountain West Conference Championship, and perhaps on to the Fiesta Bowl again. For Aaron Taylor, Jamie Erdahl, our entire CBS crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. Boise State, your 2014 Mountain West champ.